Welcome to What's Working, everyone. I'm Cam Marston. Our show, as you probably already know, focuses on workplace and workforce trends. We find the people that are changing things, doing things differently. We're finding the consultants that are advancing ideas about the workplace and the workforce. We bring them on this show and try to get information out of them that will help us in our own businesses. And today we're going to focus on two local, recent new celebrities. What we did is we took the 40 under 40 winners from Mobile Bay Monthly and went to the magazine's publishers and said, hey, who are the ones that you would suggest put on the radio? And they gave us a long list of people. We then chose two that we felt could answer this question the best. What can you guys teach somebody that's over 50 years old, me, incidentally, about the workplace today, with you being somewhere under 40 years old? What do people like me, someone over 50-year-old, not realize is going on in the workplace today that we just can't see due to the lenses of our workplace attitudes, our workplace experiences being clouded and fogged or something like that? What I remember is back in my day, when I first entered the workplace, I, by the way, am what known as a Generation Xer. And I entered the workplace, and the workplace was just scornful of people like me. What is it with you kids and your lack of work ethic? And the word that they gave us back in the day was slackers. What is it with you slackers? You don't get here early. You don't stay late. You don't have the work ethic, the demand, the loyalty, etc. And they badmouthed Generation X. And we looked at these people and said, here's what you don't understand. And one of the key points I remember back in the day was that you, and we were mostly talking to baby boomers, the Xers talking to the baby boomers, you define yourself by your work. If I sit down next to you at a baseball game or on an airplane and you and I don't know each other, and I say, tell me about yourself, baby boomer, you're going to give me a job description. We're different, I said, as a Generation Xer. My generation is different. If you say to me, tell me about yourself, I'm going to tell you where I'm from, what I do, not the work, but what my hobbies are, what's important to me, about my families, my friends, my travels, my hobbies, whatever it may be. And somewhere in that conversation, I'm going to get to work. We are not defined by our work, Generation X said. We are defined by who we are outside of the work. And the baby boomers rolled their eyes and they clucked their tongues and they said the world's going to hell in a handbaskets and there's no way you'll ever inherit the reins that we've created and we're all doomed and stuff like this. Frankly, it's the same conversation generations have had from one to the other for centuries. Now, today, here Generation X is 50 years old and older, many of us, right at 40. Early 40s begins Generation X up to about 55, 58 years old. And the Generation Xers are out there listening right now and largely in positions of influence, control, management, leadership, supervision, owners, whatever you want to say. And you know what they're doing? They're looking at the next generation below them saying, what's wrong with you kids these days? You'll never be able to do what we've done. Your value systems are all wrong, etc. It's an ongoing cycle. And today we're going to unpack that with my two guests, and I'll introduce you to them when we come back from the break. They're 40 under 40 winners. They're two of the winners, 40 years old or younger, and I don't know how old they are yet. And they're going to tell us what people like me don't get about today's workplace. I'm expecting to be enlightened, gobsmacked, and perhaps slapped with my mouth wide open. We'll be back. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. We're brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College.
Think about how people really see you. The kid at the drive-thru just sees a coffee drinker.
Please pull forward.
Your local barista sees the person who loves a smiley face in their latte.
See you next time.
It's kind of the same way with insurance. Other insurance companies just see a customer, but a State Farm agent sees more. They see you as a neighbor. Your State Farm agent is here to get to know who you really are so they can help life go right.
Call me, State Farm agent Allison Horner, in Mobile at 666-1616.
Hey, this is Cam Marston. If sales in your business comes from prospecting to create leads that lead to sales, I want to tell you about Sales Up Coach, a cloud-based system created for the next generation of sales professional. There's a big difference between being busy and being effective. And Sales Up Coach helps salespeople who rely on prospecting uncover which of their activities produce the greatest results. Over time, Sales Up Coach's machine learning hones salespeople's schedule to focus only on activities that generate the most bang for the buck. Your sales team interacts with Sales Up Coach on their smartphone, and sales managers can instantly generate reports to see who is on goal and who may need additional support. Go online and take a look at this new and very powerful sales tool. Go to salesupcoach.com/Cam Marston. Watch your sales team's productivity change.
Is your business growing? Does your existing metal building need an update? Expansion? New roof? With almost 20 years of experience, Mosley Building Systems is the leading metal building contractor along the Gulf Coast. We are your local design build experts. From expansion to new construction or repairs, we can guide you through all aspects of your project. Mosley Building Systems works with each client to fulfill their vision. For more information, go to mosleybuildingsystems.com.
We're back. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston, and in the studio with me is Cory James and Cullen Millsap. They were both selected as 40 Under 40 winners this year, and we're going to talk to them a little bit about the workplace and what a guy like me, 50-year-old, thinning-haired, overweight white guy, is missing out in today's workplace. And we're going to hear it from two guys who are killing it, and I'll share their bio with you in a moment. That are, I would say, on the forefront in our community of workplace trends. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Welcome to What's Working.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks for
So I'm what's called a Generation Xer, and we are roughly ages 51, 52 to 55, 56 years old, something like that. And you didn't hear this, but when I introduced the show prior to us getting together, I talked a little bit about how Generation X was derided in the workplace for laziness and slacker and all that kind of stuff. Well, now we're the ones leading the workplace, Generation Xers in many cases are. And we are often accused of not understanding and getting the next generation of employees. So let's start with a really broad question. What do people like me not get about the next generation of the workforce? We'll start with Cullen. Cullen, go ahead.
Well, I think the same. I think it's the same. Perception. Gen X and Millennials. I feel like baby boomers and Gen Xers feel that way about Millennials, that they're lazy or entitled, or what you were saying about your generation.
So you think it's the same attitude, just passed down?
I think it's inaccurate, but I think it's a lot of the same attitude or perception.
So the people over 50 don't understand what about your generation, or people 40 years old and younger? Where's the greatest gap in understanding between my age group and the people that are 50 years old plus in the workplace today and the people that are 40 plus or 40 years old and younger? Cullen, you got any thoughts on this? Yeah, I'm sorry, Cory. I get Cullen and Cory. You're going to make me work today.
Yeah, I think that core traits or characteristics that millennials are looking for in the workplace are flexibility and autonomy. So at least, myself personally, I enjoy waking up and doing about an hour to an hour and a half worth of work before actually commuting into the office. And I think that gives me sort of a sense of momentum that goes into the day, and I can actually bring that into the team setting, which then I get in the office place. And then autonomy, I would say, is just clear ownership over certain aspects or tasks that are clearly articulated and an individual sort of owns outright.
Do you think that's different today than it was in the past, or is it that you have leverage today and you have options today that people my age, when I was your age, didn't have? Cullen, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think, like Cory was saying, the workplace has become more fluid. So, you could, you like Cory likes to do work before work, or, I can work while I'm at lunch, or I can work when I get home. Like, a lot of this stuff can be done remotely. You don't have to be sitting in an office or a cubicle. So, I think what the older generation or the Gen Xers aren't understanding is that it can be sort of fluid. Like the work-life balance can kind of work seamlessly.
Work-life balance has been a complaint of employees since I can remember getting into the workplace. I remember one of my early clients being Estee Lauder out of New York saying, Cam, if you can solve this work-life balance riddle for us, we'd love it. And I looked into it, and I could find no easy solution at that time. Now, this was 15 some odd years ago. What is the answer to work-life balance? Because there's somebody driving home from work right now listening to this show who has had a work-life balance conversation with one of their employees today. What's the answer to work-life balance?
I think that whatever the solution is, it has to match the company's culture, and that has to be a tight fit between the two. So a lot of startups, which is the demographic I work for, are entrepreneurs. The standard is there is no vacation policy. It's unarticulated, and so it's assumed that you have sort of the responsibility or wherewithal to, work with your team and coordinate when you take off and how you take off and et cetera. But with that, it is incredibly important to take time off for the purpose of, rejuvenating creatively and otherwise. And so I've seen hybrid models of, encouraged but unstructured time off and paid service and things of that sort. But I think work-life balance really is a case-by-case basis in my book.
I think
Cullen, go ahead. Yeah.
To Cory's point, I've heard of larger companies, one namely in Atlanta. They've gone to a no vacation policy, or they don't have a policy, and they found that people aren't abusing. I guess the thought was they're going to abuse it. They're just going to take all this time off, but people end up taking less time off, except they do things that they need to do when they need to do it. You know what I mean? So like instead of taking blocks of vacation, they take the day or the afternoon to go take care of something they need to take care of.
Yeah. And do you think that's the way forward, or is it unique organizations that perhaps have a technology focus where they're not conscripted or not meeting driven or something like that? Is that the way forward, or is that a unique one-off?
I think it depends. It depends on the culture. Like Cory said, it depends on the culture. It depends on the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was reading an article about this general subject about a week and a half ago, and Bill Gates and Elon Musk actually have opposing viewpoints more or less on this subject. So Bill Gates says that the sort of primary characteristic in a workplace that's important for retaining talent is flexibility. And then Elon Musk says you pay a penalty for remote workers because they don't contribute to the communication and culture of your company. I think the juxtaposition of those 2 points of view sort of contribute to the position in my mind of case by case being the answer.
One of the not complaints, but the challenges that I hear from my clients when I talk about this with them, is that they need the predictability of knowing when somebody's going to be there, because they can schedule conversations, they can bump into them. And when it's a remote workforce, what I call a floating workforce, you float in, you float out. It doesn't mean you don't do the work, but you're just not predictable in your destination during the day, then they can't have those spontaneous meetings. And I think it was Sheryl Sandberg, when she took over Yahoo, said we're not going to do work from home anymore. We need people here collaborating. That's where ideals come from. What do you think about that?
I think the model I've seen, at least that's personally most attractive, is so Patagonia, the founder, wrote a book called Let My People Go Surfing. So, they have a deep culture and a deep brand around outdoors, and they basically have a window of time every day that everyone is expected to be in the office. So 11 to, I think it's either 11 a.m. to 1 or 2 p.m. And the idea is, if you're trying to go climbing in the afternoon, you can still swing that. If you're trying to go surfing in the morning, you can still swing that. But 11 to 2, you are in the office and able to meet.
Cullen, I know you have a military background. Tell me, and I want to make sure I get this right. You were a sergeant in the United States Marine Corps, and today you volunteer your time with Veterans Recovery Sources, which is a local nonprofit, provides mental, physical, and emotional care to veterans and their families. Now, the military background, to me, says predictability, command and control, chain of command. How does that jibe with today's workplace?
I mean, I probably have a more traditional view of the workplace.
Yeah.
And that's sort of been ingrained in me from, either the military or from, entry-level positions after college. But I'm starting to, even though I'm 35, I'm starting to see how it can, it may not be the right answer and it may not be the way forward.
Yeah. The military obviously is not a great place for a remote workforce. You got to be there to
It's
do the
impossible.
job. It's
Yeah, of
absolutely impossible. And I hear these conversations with nurses from time to people that manage nurses. They want a flexible schedule and work from home. I'm like, man, you got to put your hands on the patient to be a nurse. You got to be there. It just doesn't work.
There's no substitute for hard work and face-to-face communication. But, I think I think people want to be judged based on the work that they're doing, not if they're in the office, doing the work.
So that's a great juxtaposition, because there was a day not too long ago where visibility in the office, you get there early, you stay late, you make sure the right people see you there, had a lot to do with the measure of a work ethic. Yeah. Oh, I love that guy. He's got a strong work ethic. He's there in the morning. He's there at night when I go home. He's working hard. There's no question given to what he's doing, but that he's visible. It just doesn't float today, does it?
No. I mean, talking about the military, one thing I think the military gets right is, gets wrong is, I think people should be judged based on their merit, not about paying their dues or, what time they got to the office or what time they left. If they're getting their work done and they're, a step above, they should be viewed on that, not how long they've been there.
Yeah. You're listening to What's Working, folks. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. I'm with Cory James. I'm with Cullen Millsap, both 40 under 40 winners from Mobile Bay Monthly this year. We're talking about the workplace today and the future of the workplace. Let's get in that next. I'd like to hear where you guys see it going. We'll be back after this break. I think it's fair to say Cory James and Cullen Millsap know how to think outside the box. They're innovators. They're doers. They know how to make things happen and do it well. Coastal Alabama Community College has seen its share of innovation and success as well. They were formed in 2017 when 3 community colleges consolidated. They educate today 10,000 students on 15 different campuses and instructional sites. The nursing program in Bay Minette and Fairhope is ranked number 1 in the state of Alabama. The culinary arts program was ranked in the top 20 in the nation. Wow. There are so many great things happening at Coastal Alabama Community College, and for a complete list of programs, awards, and activities, check out their website at coastalalabama.edu or visit any one of their campuses. We'll be back in just a moment.
What's Working with Cam Marston is brought to you by Stella Artois Beer. Stella Artois is a perfect beer for celebration. Nothing caps off a big sale, hitting your incentive goals, or a profitable quarter like a round of Stella's. Brewed first in 1708 as a special Christmas brew, today Stella is a gift for everyone to enjoy year-round. Stella Artois. Find it wherever fine beer is sold.
Investing, connecting, leading, providing. The Community Foundation of South Alabama brings together philanthropic assets to make Southwest Alabama a better place to live, work, and play. We link donors to philanthropy. Working with you, we build communities. Contact us at communityfoundationsa.org.
Human Resource Departments spend countless hours on insurance billing mistakes, Obamacare rules, and compliance. Employee benefits serve the purpose of recruiting, retaining, and rewarding employees. We can handle all of your benefit needs with cost-effective products, employee enrollments, and handle your HR issues. Benefit admin doesn't have to be complicated. My name is Michael Cowart Jr. of the Cowart Group, and we specialize in helping businesses with their employee benefit packages. Visit CowartAssociates.com.
Coastal Alabama Community College is 3 amazing colleges combined into one incredible institution. And that means we're all together. For more sports, 15 more locations, more friends, more one-on-one time with instructors, way more activities, more courses, a lot more courses, and more success for all of us. Pretty much more of everything. Coastal Alabama Community College is where everyone is. All together! Coastal Alabama Community College. Register today.
We're back. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston, and What's Working is brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. In the room with me is Cory James and Cullen Millsap. I've given you a little bit of Cullen's background. Let me touch on Cory's a bit. He's the Director of Operations for the Innovation Portal here in Mobile, manages Innovation Portal's network of mentors and subject matter experts, also assists with the development and execution of the Portal Fund. And I want to read you this tail end line of his bio because it caught me off guard and I love it. Beyond work, Cory's areas of interest and research include social ethics and business movements, which we all kind of dabble in, economics, rock climbing, and finally, clocks. You heard that right, clocks. I have not seen that in a bio before. Cory, let's talk about the future of the workplace. You're in the innovation portal. You're looking at budding organizations. You're looking at technology or whatever it may be that's brewing there in the innovation portal. Where do you see the future of the workplace going? Give me a 10-year projection.
I think my perspective is interesting simply because I get to see so many examples of workplaces in my day-to-day work. So I oversee our client relations and I manage our network of mentors and subject matter experts, as you mentioned. And, the companies have such radically different workplaces that we work with. So even just touching on a few, we have software product-centric companies that are building apps, mobile apps or computer apps for really specific targeted services. And these are people that have maximum flexibility and can wake up and essentially just work before they go to their day job, or it is their day job because they've received funding or something of the sort. And it is a sort of hack away kind of mentality of finding coffee shops and finding wherever they can be most productive, essentially. And then we have other clients that we've worked with that are trade schools, so welding trainers, welding tool manufacturers, and they're more geographically bound, and they have a staff of about 15, 20 people. And it's very necessary to nurture the culture of their company. And they not only have a standard hours, but they have night classes. And so that entrepreneur in particular, his drink of choice in the morning is a quad shot espresso because he starts off his day just brainstorming product designs and getting feedback from his instructors and things. And so it totally depends on, in my experience, on the type of company that you're running. But I think the common denominator, if there is one, is just the flexibility necessary to achieve tasks that you own personally. I think it is the future that I see.
You've said that twice now. Flexibility to achieve the tasks that you own personally. Unpack that for me.
Yeah. So, say for instance, if you own the marketing of a company and you own you run a team of 10 people, and you're a 100-person company, say for instance, then you overseeing how your team works and is governed, and in such a way that gives them the ability to execute on their own personal timelines and on their own sort of collective deadlines that you come up with as a team, I think it optimizes for efficiency and productivity. So, some really high talented. So I have a 6-week-old child.
Oh gosh.
And being able to work at 4 a.m. right after I do a nighttime feeding is actually really valuable for me because I'll crash sometime around 10 and then sometime around 4 p.m. And so being able to work in periods of the day that I know myself to be most productive is really valuable for me.
So the word that I'm not hearing, but it sounds like is out there, is no micromanagement.
No, I would say not.
Is it more than that? Is it more than no micromanagement, or is that the same thing?
Similar, but not the same thing, I would say.
Yeah. Well, micromanagers have been the death of a lot of incentive and motivation for years, and it sounds like what you're defining is not just the absence of micromanagement, but really a push even more so towards autonomy. Here's the goal. Here's the objective. Get it done when, where, and how you see fit. And use the office if you want to or don't. It's here for you. Is that about right?
Yes.
What do you think about that? How's that sound?
I agree. I mean, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I think, in a job interview these days, if you mention autonomy, people get excited.
Yeah.
If you have the freedom to do, if you take ownership of something, that's great as long as you can have the freedom to get it done.
Now, let's give a little bit of your background here. This is Cullen. Cullen is the partner and vice president of legal imaging. They perform digital forensics and eDiscovery for the legal field. As I said earlier, background includes being a sergeant in the United States Marine Corps, Still very involved with the Veterans Recovery Unit. He also donates proceeds from your Mad Dog's barbecue sauce. I want to hear about this. A wholesale business he started to the Veterans Recovery Resources. Neither of you can be pigeonholed as doing one simple thing. You guys have your fingers in a lot of pots, not just the primary work that you do daily, but a lot of things outside of that. I'm not sure that historically people had their fingers in this many pots, this many really active and deep hobbies. What do you think about that? Is that an important part of the future of the workplace, is that the people have to make space for their people to have all these deep passions as a part of their daily life?
I don't know if it's an important part, but I think it's definitely, accessible, more accessible than it was, say, 20 years ago. You wouldn't have either the flexibility or the resources to figure something like, like for lack of a better term, a side hustle.
A side hustle, right?
Those resources are at our fingertips.
Yeah. And do you think is it unique to people under the age of 40 in the workplace? I mean, I'm not sure that I have a lot of friends that are as active as you are. I mean, that's one of the reasons you were selected as a 40 under 40 nominee, is I think the amount of stuff that you guys are up to. But is it unique to the two of you, to people under 40? What do you think?
I think it's unique to people our age.
To your age.
I mean, I've got a lot, and unique to the person.
Yeah.
I have friends who are perfectly content going to their accounting job, and that's what they do, and they come home and they spend time with their family. But then you got people who, like Cory, who they touch this, they touch this, they're starting this, they're handing this off, they're all over the place.
Yeah. Is that the future going forward? What do you think?
I think, honestly, I actually think it may be more on a person-to-person basis.
Yeah.
So I think that mostly because of my family is really entrepreneurial. And so my grandfather started a company. Both grandfathers really started a company and maintained side interests and cultivated passions really well. My dad just recently got his pilot's license, which, was hours and hours of studying, and really sort of was the hobby that never quite stopped.
Yeah.
And I think I see that more at the level of the personality rather than a generational. Yeah.
Cullen, I talked to Cory about this, but I haven't had your answer yet. Go 10 years out from now. How does the workplace look 10 years on? How does it look different?
I used the term fluid earlier, and I think it's only going to get more intertwined. Technology is going to play a huge part of it. I mean, we're essentially a tech-based company at Legal Imaging, so I think technology is going to have a lot to do with it. But I don't think technology in the sense of taking jobs away. I think technology in the definition of what's the term, like, just intermingling with the experts versus the technology, not like technology's taking this person out. I think it's going to be a vast period until technology can take, a whole stream of jobs away, whether it's manufacturing or coal mining or, whatever it is.
There's a lot of prediction that technology and artificial intelligence and neurolingual processing, whatever it may be, are going to eliminate a lot of jobs. And they are. I believe they are. However, they're going to create many more than they eliminate.
Sure.
They're going to create many more than they eliminate. And all we ever do is look at the elimination part and get freaked out. Yeah, that's true. But the ones that are going to be created are going to be vastly more opportunistic than the ones that have been lost. Are you guys seeing that in your work and particularly in your technology component? Are you seeing that out there in the innovation portal? What as you look at these projects people are developing in your portal, one of these days this project, if it comes to fruition, is going to eliminate some jobs.
Yeah, I think maybe we see both, right? So I mentioned earlier trade school and the sort of irreplaceability of humans or human workers is really pronounced there. So welders, to be specific, to be exact. So, but juxtapose that, so like a software that helps manage practices such as physical therapy or dental practices and things of that sort, that truly erases the need for a lot of like an operations type role. That would theoretically remove that type of person from the workplace.
How do you feel about it?
I have mixed feelings. I have a real deeply held belief in innovation's capacity to create jobs at the same rate or faster than it destroys them. And so a lot of talk is around autonomous vehicles and the end of the era of the truck driver and things of that sort. And I think the main questions are like transferability of skills for that area. But I think that's the whole conversation in that niche is or in that specific job is maybe too zoomed in and not looking at the larger scale and seeing other trends in the labor market as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, then, let's say it's a software that essentially eliminates operations. You're going to have, like you said, there's other jobs. You're going to have to be admin for the software, So if you're the person losing your job to that software, learn the admin of the, learn the software so you can, stay engaged.
Yeah, I've heard that the future includes, and this is something I've written down since I got your bios the other day. The future includes a lot of learning and relearning and relearning and relearning. That the person pigeonholed with a skill which may be valuable today may be looking for a job tomorrow. Also, a lot of future in healthcare and technology, and we see that everywhere. But there is a prediction that in 10 years from now, the liberal arts degree. Now, I know Cory, you graduated summa cum laude from St. Louis University, major in philosophy with a concentration in society and law and theological studies. This is a liberal arts degree to the best degree. Now, the prediction is that liberal arts degree will come back in vogue because it teaches you how to think and to critically think and to communicate well. In 10 years' time, based on what you're seeing, is a liberal arts degree a new value to the marketplace versus a very technical or specific degree?
I'm a tremendous personal bias, but I could not believe that more. Some of the best thinkers that I know as far as just critical, sort of raw intellectual capacity, spent 4 years in undergraduate reading a bunch of books by dead people. And I think the core skills really that you learn from a liberal arts degree or from liberal arts studies and, that's history, humanities, and et cetera, you learn the vast perspectives that people have had, and you learn how to put them in competition with each other. So most philosophy papers I wrote, right? You write, this is perspective one, this is perspective two, here's a synthesis of the two, and here's what I think. And then here's, counter arguments to what I think, and then here's my responses to those. And in the day-to-day, especially in starting and growing a business, you need that capacity to be ruthlessly challenging what you're assuming and what you're thinking. And so I'm a really, really I deeply believe that liberal arts degrees will grow increasingly valuable in the future.
When we come back, Cullen, I want to hear from you. We talked about your experience in the military. Because when I first started my work, people were afraid to hire people with a military background. Now they compete tooth and nail for them due to the discipline and the order these people, your people like yourself, are supposed to bring to the workplace. Let's talk about the value of the military background in the workplace today and tomorrow when we get back. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. I'm with Cory James, Cullen Millsap, talking about the future of the workplace. They're both 40 under 40 winners from Mobile Bay Monthly this year. We'll be right back.
The Community Foundation of South Alabama links donors to philanthropy, builds networks across 8 counties, and builds dreams for those in need. Through our donors' gifts, we make investments that enhance our community via initiatives with broad impact. Working with you, we build communities. Contact us at communityfoundationsa.org.
First Protective is a multidimensional financial firm specializing in risk management. We blend all dimensions of financial services, offering our producers diverse products to create multiple revenue streams. If you're a life insurance producer or in the traditional investment business looking to grow your business, we can help. Call me, Jay Stubbs, at 251-604-7024 or find me online at www.firstprotective.com.
Life insurance is one of those subjects that make people want to change the subject rather than admit they probably don't have enough. I'm State Farm agent Allison Horner, and that's why I focus on how the benefits of life insurance actually live on by asking people to think in terms of life without having to sell the house insurance, or life without having to give up college insurance. Find out how the benefits of life insurance can live on for your family Call me, State Farm agent Allison Horner, and get to a better state with State Farm.
I'm Matt Armbruster with Ransom Ministries. We help people in our community that most others have given up on. Please donate your unwanted electronics to Ransom Recycling. We teach life skills, job readiness, and job creation through our electronic recycling program. We take anything with a cord. Find us at ransomministries.com, or you can call us at 251-751-0044.
You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. I'm with Cory James. I'm with Cullen Millsap. They're two winners from the 40 Under 40 competition with Mobile Bay Monthly this past year. What's Working is brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. And as I said prior to the break, we're going to go to Cullen to begin this conversation about the value of the military training and education to prepare you for the workplace. Now, I know you're a University of Alabama graduate and a sergeant in the Marine Corps. What did this combination do for you? Because before the break, I was talking about how people were afraid to hire military people. Now they're fighting tooth and nail for them due to the discipline and the order and the processing and all the different valuable things the military brings. Tell me about what your background did for you and how it's going to position you 10 years in the future.
Why do you think that why were they afraid to hire a veteran?
They were afraid that the military people would push back against the leadership of the organization at the time, and with their skills and ability, they would subvert the leadership of the organization, who weren't military people, who were liberal arts people, who were somewhat afraid of the strength of character that the military develops in people.
Yeah.
And then they said, we need those people, and the tide turned quickly.
Yeah, I think it's probably mixed now. I mean, there's still some of that. There's, the fear that somebody from the military is going to come in a leadership role and sort of scare everybody and regiment things. And then there's the people that, the people in leadership positions that see the value that the military can bring as far as like leadership skills, and they're all employable. That they can take direction.
Yeah.
That they're trainable. So. I think it's still a mix, but I think, you're asking, you said 10 years?
Yeah, what's it going to do for people like yourself in 10 years? Do you see your military background being a leg up on whatever it may be 10 years from now?
No.
No.
I don't. I mean, especially I'm already almost 10 years removed from the Marine Corps, so 10 more years, especially we're coming into a time of essentially, hopefully, depending on how things go in Iran, a time of peace. And so it's going to, as a nation, we tend to kind of like ebb and flow. So when things ramp up, people are very aware of what veterans are doing and what's going on. And then as they slow down, it's kind of, as we're in peacetime, people sort of forget, what that is.
Yeah.
What that looks like.
Let's talk about this. Your generation, we're calling you Millennials, and I'd love to hear your opinion on that title. Many people don't mind it. Many people really bristle at it. Has been one of the generations, there have been a couple, that have said they won't be as affluent or successful as their parents. Give me your thoughts on that. Who wants to take this one? Let's have our philosopher jump in. Cory, philosophize about what this means for you, and do you care? Is it somebody's fault? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, that's interesting. I have a coworker that consistently asks the question, or says that you need to ask yourself the question at a young age, how much money do you want to make? Because that answer can actually dictate a lot of what you do and what you plan for. And so, my personal experience and from friends, I think there's a movement towards simplicity, and minimalism really as an alternative for that same term. And I don't know exactly where that sort of cultural phenomenon is coming from, but I think that if I were to take a guess, at the heart of it is just a desire to have only things that you need or love, and that is in some ways like a trick to a happy life. But
it sounds good. Only things. It's the old axiom: want what you have, don't want what you don't have, and that's one of the ingredients of happiness is forever. But is it hard to get out of bed every day knowing that my future has been stymied due to the economics, due to national debt? I got used to growing up in my parents' household with their income level, and that'll never happen to be. My children are going to get the short end of the stick because of it.
I think it's helpful maybe to differentiate between the income for the purpose of consumption versus the actual assets that you own. And so someone can say, for instance, own very few things, but be, have a great deal of wealth in stocks or in whatever you may have. But I think differentiating between that is important.
Cullen, what do you think?
So, like, what was the last thing? What was the thing you said? Oh, so I think millennials value millennials or whatever you want to call them. They value experiences versus stuff. And so like, I have my real estate license, so I try to stay up with the trends, and I've heard that downsizing is going to be a trend, over the next couple of years, and I think it has to do with people who are our age who have entered the housing market who are now like, I don't need all this stuff, I'd rather have the things I love and then use the money that I'm making for experiences versus just more and more and more and more.
Let me throw this at you. You mentioned the housing market. One of the pieces of data that I study for my clients are what I call rites of passage moments, which is first age someone buys their first home, age people get married, age people have kids, age people become financially independent from their parents. All these ages are slowly growing. In other words, they're going up. People are transitioning at these ages, transitioning into these things at older ages. And this has been the case since the baby boomers. The baby boomers did it at older ages than their parents. Then the Xers did it at the older ages than the boomers. The millennials now older than, I've got 4 kids, all under the age 17 and under. And at this rate, they're going to leave the home at 39 unless something drastic happens, which we're considering. But these life passages, these life stages are happening at older ages. Can you talk about what that means for people like yourself, for your future, and perhaps if we could tie it back to the workplace in some way or another? Is there a way to wrap your head around this thing?
Yeah, it's fascinating. I read an article that was like an overview of trends in labor or just the labor market, and it's like a rapidly growing demographic is age 22 to 30 males that are underemployed, so not actually seeking employment. And it's like the question is, what are they doing all day? And it's like, well, they're gaming. And so, maybe not tying it back to the workplace, but tying it back to sort of larger trends. I think that there's, really interesting growth in that sector of esports and of actually a sort of projected growth in entertainment broadly defined in like the entertainment sector. And the cover of ESPN magazine was a gamer a few months back. And his name is Ninja, and he plays Fortnite. And everyone under, I'm sure, probably all 4 of your children know him.
They certainly do.
Probably makes millions too.
Yeah.
Oh, he does. I think he does. Yeah.
Surely. But I think tying it back maybe to the actual workplace and some things Cullen was saying earlier is valuing the experiences and having companies cultivate those. I think maybe even may grow in importance in the future.
So one of the predictions is people under the age of 40 will have 8 careers, not job, but careers in their lifetime. Is that feasible? What do you think about that?
It depends on, I guess, how do you define a career?
A new way to earn income in something completely different than what you were doing before.
I think they call that streams of revenue these days.
Okay, very good. We're going to turn that around. That's interesting. Let's talk about retirement. All right, so retirement historically has been, back in the day, you turn 65, you step out of the office, they give you a gold watch. This is not my generation, this is generations previous. They, they have a cake and they sing something for you, and maybe you get a shot of whiskey and you're gone. Is that the way you guys see it for yourself? First, what is the age? Could you even begin to predict an age for retirement? You're both under 40, so what is that going to look like for you?
I mean, I think retirement by definition is like the day you get to stop your job, and I'm not in a job that I can't wait to stop, and I wouldn't advise that for anybody. So I hate to go back to this, but the fluidity, if you can do it, if you love it and you can do it wherever, what's the need to stop? I think if I could turn this again, people shouldn't be preparing for retirement. They should be preparing for financial freedom. As long as you have the freedom, you can still do what you love.
I think I would maybe personally define retirement for myself as the moment when I stop having a salaried position. And so I don't envision myself not working or ceasing to work on projects that still generate income in some kind. So both my father and my father-in-law develop properties and have an absolute blast doing it. And I think that I'll probably follow in that footsteps, but no one's going to be writing me a check.
Yeah. I talked to a buddy before this and he said, you don't have to stop working. Everybody loves the old guy that works at REI and is doing this as a retirement gig for minimum wage or Patagonia or the surf shop down the street, like why stop? And I'll tell you this, every person who's my parents' age who's retiring every one of them has said, don't stop moving. Don't just do something no matter what it is, keep moving.
I was talking to a doctor not long ago about a guy I know, 83 years old, and I said, I think he thinks if he stops moving, he's going to die. And she said, he will.
Yeah.
He will. It shocked me. He will. And that's what's keeping him alive. I was shocked to hear that. What about financially? Are you guys, one of my client bases is financial services, and they say, gosh, it's hard to find anybody under 40 that's saving money. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I'm saving money.
Yeah.
I'm personally definitely saving money.
Yeah. Their belief is that once this generation gets of the age to begin really seeing retirement on the horizon out there, they're going to realize that, I didn't start soon enough or I didn't save enough. Not you too. Your peers and your colleagues are doing the same?
Mostly. Entrepreneurs tend to go pretty lean, especially at the stage that we work with them in. But, I think that if people are not saving right now, that scares me because of the prolonged economic growth that we've had the last, decade plus. And so I think saving creatively is incredibly important, but I don't think that it's ubiquitous among our generation. I wouldn't say that.
And the life expectancies continue to grow, so they're going to need to be alive longer. Last question, and this is one we talked about in the break. Imagine, I'm going to read this. Imagine you can grab a 55-year-old, put your hands on their shoulders, look them directly in the eye, and tell them the truth about something in the workplace that they've avoided learning. What would that be? Cory, let's start with you.
I would look at that person right in the face and say, believe in your employees and invest in people that have the capacity to be autonomous and have the capacity to really claim ownership over the pieces of the company and the operations that they oversee. So
a follow-up question would be, well, sounds great. How do I find those people? Where are they? What is the question that I ask in an interview that reveals this to me?
That is a tough nut to crack. Pretty much everyone we've ever worked with is trying to answer that same question. So
yeah, Cullen.
I would agree with Cory. I think it's it comes from face-to-face contact to invest in these. Like I was saying during the break, it's not all about if I'm talking to a 55-year-old in a leadership role, it's not all about you. We're not all here to support you. Find those people that are going to support you to make you look better. To me, that's the real definition of leadership. Like this, you're not talking to a two-dimensional figure. You're talking to somebody who may be able to help you either look better or help you move up. Just like Cory said, invest in these people and pay attention and realize that, have enough self-awareness to know that the workplace doesn't revolve around you.
Yeah.
It's more of a project basis, or look at it more of a project basis, or a breakdown of hierarchy.
Cullen Millsap is the partner and vice president of legal imaging. Cory James currently serves as the director of operations for Innovation Portal. I'm struggling with that one. They've both been selected as 40 under 40 winners for the year. Was it 2019 or 2020?
2019.
2019 by Mobile Monthly, and we wanted to hear their opinions on the future of the workplace. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And once again, congratulations. The trajectory of your lives due to that award is irreversibly changed at this point.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Delighted you're here. All right, folks, we'll be back in a little bit with final comments. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. Some of us may be surprised by how many changes have occurred in the workplace since 1993. That date has nothing to do with me, by the way. Gone are the days of my brother word processor that weighed 50 pounds. Now we have 3D printers, and who knows what's around the corner. Technology is in a constant state of change, and Coastal Alabama Community College is in the top of these changes. They offer a degree in animation, video graphics, and visual effects, considered to be a one-of-a-kind program. It's the only one in our region. Using the latest software, students learn how to create computer-generated images and animation. If you're wondering what this is all about and what it means, go to the movies and pay attention to the animation and the images. This is what the students at Coastal Alabama Community College are learning to do. For more information, check out their website at coastalalabama.edu.
What's Working with Cam Marston is brought to you by Stella Artois Beer. Stella Artois is a perfect beer for celebration. Nothing caps off a big sale, hitting your incentive goals, or a profitable quarter like a round of Stella's. Brewed first in 1708 as a special Christmas brew, today Stella is a gift for everyone to enjoy year-round. Stella Artois. Find it wherever fine beer is sold.
Do you sometimes wonder about different money topics, but struggle to find the answers? The Every Dollar Counts podcast with Gulf Coast experts Josh Knoll and Jay Stubbs is made for those folks serious about their financial plan and looking for answers. Josh and Jay dedicate their time to explaining the various services and products available, as well as discussing lifestyle and money interests of the modern-day family. Tune in to Every Dollar Counts on Apple Podcasts and everywhere else you get your favorite podcasts.
Is your business growing? Does your existing metal building need an update? Expansion? New roof? With almost 20 years of experience, Mosley Building Systems is the leading metal building contractor along the Gulf Coast. We are your local design-build experts. From expansion to new construction or repairs, we can guide you through all aspects of your project. Mosley Building Systems works with each client to fulfill their vision. For more information, go to mosleybuildingsystems.com.
This is Coastal Alabama Community College, where education is key and where there is opportunity in every classroom. We serve 9 counties with one common goal. Here, we come together to create a brighter future. Together, we inspire. Together, we learn. Together, we succeed. This is Coastal Alabama Community College. All together.
What's Working with Cam Marston is brought to you by Stella Artois Beer. Stella Artois is a perfect beer for celebration. Nothing caps off a big sale, hitting your incentive goals, or a profitable quarter like a round of Stella's. Brewed first in 1708 as a special Christmas brew, today Stella is a gift for everyone to enjoy year-round. Stella Artois. Find it wherever fine beer is sold.
I want to thank Cory and Cullen for their time on the show today. I appreciate their insights. I congratulate them on their Mobile Bay Monthly 40 Under 40 Award. Well done, gentlemen. And on the heels of that, Mobile Bay Monthly has made a very special offer. If you're interested in receiving 1 year free subscription to Mobile Bay Monthly, do the following. Now, listen closely. First, text something to this number. I'll tell you what that something is just a minute, but here's the number, 44222. Again, 44222. Enter what's working. Text what's working to 44222. And from there, you'll receive prompts on what to do to get your free year subscription to Mobile Bay Monthly. That's fantastic. And I'll say it one more time. This is something new we're offering for listeners of the show. So we'll offer various things depending on who our guests are. Here's the text number, 44222. Enter what's working and send it to the number 44222 and follow the prompts from there, and you'll get your free subscription. Very cool. Now, the last thing I'm going to do before signing off today is do what I have neglected to do for so long, and that is to tell people how to get in touch with us. Our show continues to grow and have had some complaints. Cam, how do we leave you a message? How do we get in touch with you? There's a handful of ways. I'll touch on a couple of them right here and right now. First, go to Instagram, What's Working with Cam Marston. We're developing that page, and largely because of what we learned from the Yard Milkshake Bar. The extraordinary, now they're retail, very different than what we do, but the extraordinary business they've developed, and Instagram being the primary advertising tool. And I thought, well, gosh, all I want is a fraction of that. So we're developing our Instagram presence. Go to What's Working with Cam Marston on Instagram. You'll also find us on Facebook. Search for What's Working with Cam Marston. There's the phone number, 251-260-8100. Again, 251-260-8100. That's an unmanned line. You'll leave a message. You can also text 251-260-8100, and we'll get that text. And finally, email Cam, C-A-M, at what'sworkingcam.com. That's Cam, C-A-M, at what'sworkingcam.com. Hope you'll take advantage of the special offer from Mobile Made Monthly, a very generous offer for them, due to us hosting their 40 Under 40 winners. And perhaps next year, if we can find a couple more well-spoken winners, we'll ask them their opinions on what's changing in the workplace. So that's it for us this week. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Coastal Alabama Community College. We'll have another show for you next week. Have a good week, everyone. Talk to you soon.